You know, this has been kind of a wild ride over the past couple years with all these Stephen King movies coming out. And, I mean, like, they're not bad, but they're not good. You know what we call that, fellas? We call that average. We call it average. And that's exactly what Dr. Sleep is. Dr. Sleep is an average, forgettable piece of baloney. Let's get into it, shall we? First off, I want to point out that this movie is a Shining sequel. And in order to know what the story is about, you have to see The Shining, which came out in 1980. Like, that's crazy to expect that people are going to watch The Shining and then go and watch the movie that came out, Dr. Sleep. I find it funny that they're doing a Dr. Sleep movie now, considering that back when they were actually doing Stephen King, like, TV series and The Shining, they considered Dr. Sleep not good enough to make a movie, but now that we're in this trend of Stephen King movies, like novels turned into movies or TV shows, it doesn't matter anymore. If the book is shit, like, who cares? It's gonna go make money because it has Stephen King's name on it. And that kind of pisses me off because it just shows so much in the film, like, how soulless it is. It is so blank and empty inside. It makes me want to just cry. Because it's the same story every time with these kind of movies, that there's so much effort and so much time put into it, and then they make a product that's going to be forgettable and soulless. The visuals in Dr. Sleep are very distracting. I got a headache from looking at most of it. They have this, like, I can't tell if it's green screen or not, but if it looks fake, like, that's not good either. They would have these things where the character is very sharp and in focus while the background is so blurred you can't even tell what it is. And it's just very hard to look at. That contrast is just so stark that I got constantly taken out of the experience and questioning whether they were actually in their environment. I mean, I know, and like, there's this one wide shot where Dan and Abra were standing on steps inside of the hotel, and you could totally tell that they were not in the scene. They were just bloop on top of it. Abra, I get particularly disgusted by her character because she's a Mary Sue. And people have been talking about this with Rey from Star Wars being a Mary Sue, that she's perfect and that her character flaws are just something that makes her even more special. In this movie, Abra, she has most amazing abilities, and she has no fear, she's plopped into a new environment that she's not even scared of. She has just this blank or cocky face all the time, like she's smarter than everyone else. And I think it could have been an interesting play of Dan kind of realizing this and being like, hey, you're not acting like a human being. Like, is the Shining consuming you, or what's the story here? And then Dan, he's fairly poorly developed too. I felt like the 8-year time gap was just an excuse to have character development off screen. Like, instead of having that, he could have had with him waking up in the bed and remembering everything and instantly having to adjust, like getting ripped out of his world that he's used to of being a bum and having to become this father figure, becoming like outside of his normal boundaries for his powers, and just having to change. Because he changes off screen, and so it doesn't really feel real. His struggles don't feel real because we don't see them and we can't identify with them. It would have been interesting to see him be like this shitty individual doing these horrible things, or just being a overall bad person, and then having to just be better for the sake of this random girl, both for like survival and her survival, but also like a relatability that she's going through the same things that he's going through when he was a kid. Just their relationship really pulled me out of it constantly because they both didn't really have any emotions, or when they did talk, it was very superficial. Like, his big flaw is that he insists on hiding his power and insists that Abra hide her power, but you know how that's resolved? He just says like, I told you to hide your shine, but I was wrong. Shine on, girl, shine on. Like, and then he just keels over. Who gives a shit if he says something like that? Like, that's not interesting at all. he dies for literally no reason than for the sake of, like, his own selfish endeavors. Like, he has someone to live for. He has someone that needs a father figure, that needs support, and he just decides, well, I don't really need to help her. I can just communicate. Sure, there's, like, other problems that she's going to have to deal with, and more people are going to come after her, but you know what? I can just die, and it'll be alright. And you'll be like, well, it's just a movie. It's a Stephen King movie. It's a trend. Everybody's just doing it because it's, like, making money. And I'm like, yes, it makes money. It sells. Like, I went to see it. They're going to get my ticket money. Like, whatever. But at the same point, we should be making art here. We should be making films that people actually care about, making films that the crew is passionate about, and that they actually want to do, like, meaningful work or actually have some heart behind it. If you want to go see Dr. Sleep, like, I'm not going to stop you. It's just not really that good. If you like laughing at bad visual effects, I would say go and do that too. And, that's really it. I'm tired of thinking about this movie, and I'm just gonna stop, so goodbye.